Alright, everybody please take a minute, close your eyes real quick. Not including you. Imagine you're in a movie theater. You're going to go see your favorite action movie that just came out. It's dark, the movie's about to start, and then someone randomly just walks in looking very mysterious, big trench coat. Then they walk right up to you. Inside their trench coat, they pull out a 9mm handgun. Well, I'm sorry. Pull it out, and then next thing you hear is bang. But the thing is, it wasn't you being shot. It was actually your friend shooting him. You may open your eyes. In Colorado, at the Aurora shootings, handguns were illegal to be carried. So, cuckoo. According to measuring civilian defense firearm use, civilians use guns to defend themselves and others from crime at least 989,883 times per year. Now, that's a lot. Continue. Oh. Today, I'm JJ. You probably remember me from my gun safety speech. Now we'll be talking about gun control. My first point is gun deaths, guns compared to other kinds of deaths. Crime and self-defense is my next point. Do guns actually work? And my last is gun control. Is it just guns? What are some preventions that happen, and what happened in the past? All right, my first topic is 10 big killers in the United States. First one is tobacco use, which kills 529,000 people per year. Next is medical errors, which is about 195,000. Next is unintentional injuries, alcohol abuse, so on and so forth. You notice that here at the end is where firearm homicides occur, which is actually 113 in the top 10 cases, according to the CDC. Now, Now, if firearms are such a big deal, then why are there 113 more likely things to kill you than guns? That's like saying cars should be banned because they look like assault vehicles. Continue. Crime and self-defense. This is from Uniform Crime Report Program, United States. Did you know most Americans will never be in violent crime? That's wrong. 83% of Americans will be the victim of attempted or completed violent crime. Did you know banning handguns decreases the murder rate? Nope. The Washington, D.C. murder rate were averaged 73% higher than it was outside of the law banning handguns, while the U.S. murder rate averaged 11% lower. In England, England, it was actually, they had a handgun law, and after that, murder rates went up 52%. Not down. And you say guns don't work? The U.S. Center, the CDC found that Americans use guns to run away intruders who are breaking into their homes about 498,000 times per year. A survey of male felons in 11 state prisons found that 34% had been found or scared off because of guns, and that 40% actually didn't commit the crime because they knew the person had guns. Is it just guns? Tim McVeigh, which is the person who did the Oklahoma City bombing, didn't use a gun to kill 168 people. He used fertilizer, racing fuel, and U-Haul trucks. Planted a bomb outside the building down there and killed 168 people. And then the same week, a Sandy Hook incident. Go back. A 36-year-old in China stabbed 23 kids and a teacher in a school over there. Now, it's not just guns, apparently. Deltona, Florida, 4 men decided to bludgeon 6 people using baseball bats, killing them. Baseball bats are actually higher killers than guns, according to the FBI. And then in Tokyo, Japan, a man drove his truck into a crowd of people, killing 3 and injuring 12 more. So, as you can see, guns really aren't the problem, it's more for people. Prevention. Honestly, which some of these signs do you think will prevent tragedy? Do you think all weapons are prohibited? You know, people carry guns anyway. Or do you think someone reading this would be like, oh, shit, I shouldn't go in there? Honestly, like, do you think that? Alright, according to this, though, mass shootings in Colorado Springs were stopped by a shooter being shot by a church member carrying a weapon. He only killed 2 people compared to, let's say, Columbine High School, where 19 children were killed, where nobody had a concealed weapons permit. On July 13, 2009, a man entered a store in Richmond, Virginia, and fired and shot at the clerk and started shooting at other people in the store before being shot by a former officer who also was carrying a concealed weapons permit. And then in College Park, GA, anyway, continue. Having passed, gun control doesn't work. As you can see, Stalin, Mao, Hitler, Pot, they were all totalitarian dictators. It isn't good. And then continue. All right, so who out of here would march to DC and protest against gun control laws? 1? All right. And then who here would sign a petition stopping proper gun control in the United States? Improper meaning psychopaths can't have it. Yeah. Anybody seen Walter from Jeff Dunn? Okay, never mind. Continue. I think passing laws banning all guns is the answer. Criminals don't pay attention to law. Anyway, that's my speech.
My name is Maida. Can everybody close their eyes? Alright, now imagine 2 people. They have a job, any job, just it's the same job. They have no relation to each other. They go to work, you know, the same days, they put in the same amount of hours, they put in the same amount of effort. However, you know, one of them struggles a little bit more to pay for their house bills or to pay for their children or to accommodate to whatever household needs they have. And why? Because of their private funds. Ample research has persistently shown that the wages of women, irrespective of qualifications and experience, are lower for the same kind of work. I got this from Forbes.com on the wage difference between men and women, sexist or functional. Today I will talk to you about feminism. And by the end of my speech, you will see that this form of discrimination is active today, it's an active problem today, and it should be addressed. I will talk about gender roles, wage equality, and sex. Gender roles are basically what society expects you to do just because you are a man or a woman, for example. Woman's rightful place in a household is the kitchen. In 1995, 76% of women between the ages of 25 and 54 worked outside of the house, the home, up to 50%, which was, back in 1970, it was 50%. So it went up a good 26%. So women are not necessarily nowadays even like, they don't stay in the house doing household work. They actually go out and provide a home for their family, just like a man could. Women are the only ones that get raped because they wear provocative clothing. In 2013, 1 in every 10 rape victims were male. Just because you are a girl and then you're at a club wearing a dress, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a man raping a girl. it can happen in many other ways. Like women can rape women, guys can rape guys, girls can rape guys. They can take advantage of you, even like if you have some sort of drug in your system, alcohol, whatever. Men are naturally smarter than women. Studies reveal that the female brain is actually stronger on the left hemisphere. As a result, they do better when tested for language ability and speech articulation. That's not saying the guys are not smart. They're both equally smart. It's just that they're smart in different ways. Like women are dominant in speech and language and communication, whereas men are usually smarter in strategic, like heavy lifting, and that's true. And yeah. Wage equality. It's no secret that men and women have different. They get paid differently because they put in the same effort, and they both do the same job, but women still get paid less. But how much less? In 2002, the median income of men and women of all races in current U.S. dollars. In 2002, women averaged to be $17,600. Whereas men, the 30,712. That's almost like half as much. Women is kind of the same, and then men still kind of the same. Just a few numbers. And then women, they upped it up a little bit in 2004. The men also upped it up a little bit in 2004. 2005. There was an increase. For men, there was actually a decrease. So, we're getting there. But it's still a really big difference, almost half. And then in 2006, 20,000, whereas men was 32,000. So we're getting there. But it is still a problem. And we'll fix it. But at this rate, we'll never get there. All right. We need feminism also because of respect. It is not. Women should not be identified because they should be identified because of what they are, because of what they do, not because of their body parts, because they have enhanced body parts that are pretty to look at. Like male athletes, they get praised because they have stamina, they have strength. Women athletes should be getting the same attention. When I tell people I'm starting a feminism club at my school, the first supply shouldn't have to be, oh, I didn't know you were a lesbian. Feminism does not have to be, you don't have to be a girl just to stand up for equality. You can be a guy standing up for women's rights. You can be straight, you can be whatever. I mean, you don't need to be black or Hispanic to believe in equal rights. Racism shouldn't be a problem. Then discrimination against women shouldn't be a problem, and you don't have to be a girl just to go with that. This one is pretty self-explanatory. I need feminism because I'm sick of women being an insult. How many of the girls here have been like, oh, it's because you're a girl, It's like, whatever, they constantly say, no, you belong in the kitchen, or you can't do that because you're a girl, or whatever. It shouldn't be an insult. Women are just as strong and powerful as that. Concluding, sexism is another form of discrimination, just like racism is, just like other forms of discrimination against sexual orientation or anything else. And it shouldn't be the problem that it is today, even though a lot of people take it for granted or overlook it. So who here is willing to go to the next Orlando slot walk with me and go burn bras right now? Okay. Then, who here is at least willing to start a petition, to sign a petition for equal pay?
Close your eyes, please. Imagine someone who doesn't exercise and just sleeps all day and be lazy, be eats burgers, junk food, and never exercise at all. That person will be more likely to have health problems in the future. My speech is going to be about physical activity, and if you follow these steps and exercise, you will be led to a healthy life. Regular physical activity is one of the most important things you can do for your health. These are some common questions in order for your body and health to be in a good state. The first question is, why is it good to be physically active? Does your body need exercise every day? What can be some recommendation to do exercise? Do you really need someone else's recommendation in order to do exercise? Is outdoor exercising in good condition better than indoor exercise? Does it really matter? Does it really matter the environment where you work out? My first key point is, why is it good to be physically active? Regular physical activity can improve your cardiovascular health and strengthen your bones. It can also boost your mental health, and if someone doesn't exercise, the chance of being ill or sick will increase. My second key point is, what can be some recommendation in order to do exercise? You can at least work out 3 days a week, run a mile, at least you can do. You can also work out up to 60 minutes or more of aerobic exercise to promote and sustain weight loss. Muscle exercises, including lifting weights, should be done for your major muscles groups at least 2 times a week. As you can see, these are some statistics of outdoor exercise and indoor exercising. So, to conclude, based on what I previously covered, like my 3 key points, I can conclude that exercising is vital for everyone's life. So is anybody gonna run a mile at least 3 days a week? Nobody? That would be it.
Hello everyone. Can you guys please close your eyes and lay your head down on the table? A fatherless child was born one day. She never asked for this life, but it's hers anyway. As she lay in her crib at the hospital ward, the other fathers come and the other babies are adored. She has no last name, her birth certificate incomplete. There won't be a proud daddy counting the toes of her feet. That first day of school, she knew something was wrong. All the other kids brought a man named Daddy along. She had heard that word, but what did it mean? She didn't have one of those, at least not that she had seen. She asked many questions over the next few years, but there were no answers, just a set of deaf ears. As she grew up, the dream formed in her mind one day she'd get answers, and her lost daddy she would find. She laid in bed every night, giving him a face. She rehearsed every moment, every word just in case. You guys can lift your head up. Many of us nowadays experience a life without our fathers. By a show of hands, can anyone raise their hand if they've been raised without a father? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 25 million children live apart from their biological fathers, and that is 1 out of every 3 children in America. Decades ago, fathers were considered as the head of the household and the provider of the family, and nowadays mothers take over both roles of the family. And I feel that mothers, they can't do what fathers can do, and fathers can't do what mothers can do. But a father's role in a family is very important in child development. So I'm going to talk to you about the importance of fathers. I'll talk to you about living arrangements by race and who will live with who. Fatherless child, how important is dad, and possible consequences of a missing father figure, and the chances in life. How do fatherless homes affect teens? By the end of my speech, you'll understand how big of a hole that fathers leave. Here is a graph showing how many different households and the percents of each family, how for African Americans, black families, 84% live with 35% live with their with both parents, and with mothers only 51% live with their mom, and with fathers only 5% live with their dad. And these numbers will increase over the years because of our, divorce rates. They continue to rise and rise. Continue. Fatherless child. How important is that? From the book of the importance of fathers and their involvement with children. It's a myth that it doesn't matter if fathers aren't involved in the homes, and students will do well in school. But 71% of all high school dropouts come from fatherless homes. The numbers don't match. All young children will eventually get over the absence of a father, people think. But not all. 80% of children who exhibit behavioral disorders come from fatherless homes. Only mothers alone can provide children with emotional stability. But 63% of youth suicides are from fatherless homes. It's unfortunate that these numbers are so high, but it's unfortunate that these numbers are so high, but they will continue to rise and make a bigger impact on our generation. Because teens nowadays, they're going through so many things, and a father figure in our family is important to boys and young women, because he's supposed to teach you, he's supposed to teach you discipline. He's supposed to teach you respect. He's supposed to give you security. And for women, he's supposed to teach you what kind of man to look for. And for boys, he's supposed to teach you what kind of man to be in the future. And it just counts a lot. And so boys are twice as likely to drop out of high school and twice as likely to end up in jail. 71% of pregnant teenagers lack a father. 80% of rapists motivated with misplaced anger come from fatherless homes. And teens are at a greater risk of suicide and self-harm. So what do we do about these numbers? And what do we do about him? How many of you would like to join a march on Father's Day Parade to protest quality time must be a part of, child support? Because fathers, when they pay child support, they do often just pay the money and they walk off like nothing happened. Or how many of you will sign the petition that states along with child support, it is also mandatory that uninvolved fathers spend several hours of quality time with their child?
Imagine you are an 8-week-old growing fetus. Your organs, muscles, and nerves are now beginning to function. You have hands that you can now bend at the wrist, eyelids to cover your eyes, and taste buds that are forming on your tongue. You are a living, breathing human being. All of a sudden, you are feeling something sharp against your back. Before you know it, you are sucked out of your mother's uterus, while at the same time tearing you into small pieces. Your body is no longer in existence. Open your eyes. According to abortionfacts.com, the 8+ week unborn baby feels actual pain during abortion. There's a picture there. Today I'm going to talk to you about abortion, and by the end, hopefully you'll understand why it's unethical and at least have your own opinion on it and see why you should change it. And now I'll go on and talk to you about my 3 main points. Abortion, why do people really want them? 2, the truth about abortion, what people think versus the truth. And 3, the abortion facts. What are the actual facts and how is it relevant in America today? Now that you know what I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to talk to you about why people really want abortions. According to Reasons Women Want Abortions 2009, 25% of women are actually not ready for abortions. 7% just don't want children. 21% can't afford a baby. 3% get abortions because the mom is at risk of health. And 4% is because the baby is at risk of health. Most people say that abortions should be legal because what if the baby its health is at risk or the mom is at risk, but you can see here that most people get abortions because they're not prepared or okay. And now that I've talked to you about my other point, I'll talk to you about abortion and what the truth is. According to the top 10 myths about abortion by William L. Saunders Jr., most abortions are done in the U.S. Due to incest, rape, or health reasons. And that's actually not true. 25% of abortions are done because they're not ready for another child, and 0.5% of abortions are done because of incest and rape. Abortions are rare in the United States. That's false. Approximately 1.31 million abortions each year are in the U.S. Abortions, particularly early abortions, don't kill a human being. Actually, they do. Even an 8-week-old baby has like a heartbeat and hands. Their brain is starting to function and all that, so it's a human being live. Next. Now that I've talked to you about that, I will talk to you about abortion facts. What are the actual facts and how is it relevant in the U.S.? I forgot to say that that picture is going to be graphic. That's an aborted baby. For every 2 babies born, another baby's life dies in an abortion. That's 1.2 million babies a year, over 3,300 babies every day. That's 1 baby every 25 seconds, and that's over 53 million babies since 1973, and that's just in America. How many, like in that last picture you saw how she had the pro-life thing over her face. People do that just to signify that they're for abortion. It's like a silent thing that they do. Next. Now that you know what I'm talking about, I'll ask you guys, how many of you will go stand outside of the White House and place the tape over your mouth to show that you're for abortion? How many of you, now that you know all the facts about abortion, will go home and suggest other options such as adoption to people you know are seeking an abortion? Okay, thanks guys.
So imagine a girl in Indonesia, she's 13 years old, and her family is poor, and she does, as a living to make money, she has to go out and prostitute herself. Knowing that in Indonesia they have no rights of abortions, they're illegal abortions, or they don't have no medications for abortions. She goes out during the night in the streets and happens to meet a guy. Doesn't know who he is, doesn't know his name, doesn't know nothing about him. He rapes her. A couple weeks later, she finds out that she's pregnant. Since she can't get an abortion, she has to get a back alley abortions. A couple weeks later, she's in the hospital, sick, bleeding, and has no money to fix herself. A couple days later, she dies. Open your eyes, please. Back alley abortion causes 68,000 maternal deaths each year in 33 countries, while abortion is illegal or not available, according to the World Health Organization in October 2006. And I got this source from National Abortion Federation organization website. Today I'll be speaking on should abortion be legalized, and by the end I will have your support, or will try keeping having abortions legal in the United States and also in different countries. Today I'll talk about the 1973 case on abortion, which is Roe versus Wade, and why the Supreme Court should overturn Roe versus Wade. The pros and cons of the good and bad side of abortions, and the back alley abortions, and what are the consequences of back alley abortions. Now I'm talking about the 1973 case on abortions, which is the Roe versus Wade. Roe was a 21-year-old girl that represented all the women's rights who wanted abortions. And Wade was a Texas Attorney General who defended the illegal rights of abortion. In 1972, 60% chose not to overturn Roe versus Wade, and 34% wanted to overturn it. In 2003, 62%, and the 31% didn't want to. 2013, 63% wanted to keep Roe versus Wade, to have illegal abortion in the United States, and 21% wanted to overturn the case. Now I'm going to talk about the pros and cons on abortions. According to the procon.org, should abortions be legal? Abortions.procon.org. Research shows that abortion lowered crimes. The negative side shows that abortion increased likelihood of future miscarriages, which means depending on how the miscarriages goes, depending on having a baby in the future can depend on the miscarriages, and can have more miscarriages and be more difficult for you to go through a full-term pregnancy. Motherhood should never be a punishment for having sexual intercourse. Just because you have sex unprotected, or how in most religions says you have to wait till marriage, doesn't mean just because you have sex you have to get punished by motherhood. Abortion causes psychological damages. Most women that go through abortions, they are pressured into it, basically. Either their boyfriends, their husbands, or their families don't want the child, don't have the money to support it. But they, in the end of the day, a side of them wants to keep it. So once they have the abortion, they don't know if they're able, they don't know how they feel about it. Maybe they wanted to keep the child, maybe they don't want to. Abortion research found that 70% of participants said they could not afford to have a baby, and 32% claimed giving birth would interfere with their education and career goals. Think about it, 16-year-old girls that are in college want a future ahead of themselves. They have a boyfriend, they get pregnant, now they can't go to college, or not have enough money to support themselves to go to college. They get 2 jobs, they don't have the life that they want, that they dream of. And women should use contraceptives, not abortion, to prevent unwanted pregnancies. Girls, if you want to have sex, it's not hard for you to go to a clinic, get the birth control. It's not hard at all. It costs about $40 for insurance. And just because you have an abortion doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. You could have, like I said, the birth control, you could have the patches, the shots to prevent yourself from having pregnancies. Abortion should be the last thing you should do to have unwanted baby. Moving on, we're going to talk about the back alley abortions. Legalizing abortion will reduce child abuse. There's been so many crimes on child abuse, and you have seen, I'm pretty sure you have seen pictures and videos of people from different countries having the grandmother or the mother hitting the baby that's just 3 months and abusing the baby because maybe they didn't want it. And they couldn't have an abortion, so they keep the baby and then they mistreat the child. Approximately 219 women died worldwide each day from unsafe abortions. And before Roe versus Wade, 1.2 million illegal abortions occurred in the United States. So now, I want to know, are you going to come to the United Nations and fight for other countries to legalize abortions and keep legal abortions here in the United States? Or are you going to help me spread the word of legalizing abortions for other countries?